Smashed in broad daylight, right on this very counter. What do we pay taxes for, I'd like to know? When any ruffian off the street can burst in here and break one's goods, smash one's goods. Can you imagine? Broad daylight. The law is very lax. It is very lax. One was smashed, and you sold two similar Napoleon busts to... Identical. Identical. To Dr. Brannicket, a fine gentleman. Oh, but it wasn't a sale. It was a gift. Heartfelt. A gift? Indeed. He saved my daughter's life. Hit by a dray she was, but Dr. Barnacle was on the scene and hurried her off to his office. Put her right in no time. The busts, how did they figure? Not a penny. No payment. He would accept nothing. A man of compassion. You don't see his kind often. This was the first time I'd seen one. So, in lieu of payment, he suggested 2 copies of the Napoleon bust by Divine. Mr. Hudson, where did you get the bust originally? What do you want to know for? A matter of routine. Sorry, I am really. I'm not a placid man. Frenetic is what I am. It's Gelder and Company, in Church Street, Stepney. I see. A very old, reliable firm. You could look it up. How many did you buy? 3. Just the 3. The 2 I gave to Dr. Barnacle, and the other smashed. Smashed! Right on this very counter. One more thing, Mr. Hudson. Do you recognize the man in this photograph? It's Beppo. He said, call me Beppo. Italian fellow. He did some handiwork for me, carving, framing. He was an artisan. Where is he now? He left last week, and I've not heard from him since. Anything strange in his behavior? He seemed all right while he was here. Kept his mind on business. He left a day or 2 before my statue got smashed. Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Glad to be of service. Good day. Beppo, a name for the picture. What's Beppo's connection, do you suppose, Holmes? He's tied in with both Kennington Road and Kennington. At the wholesalers, we'll learn more. Cabby! The manager. You wish to see? I am the manager, Karl Strauss. For 8 years, I have managed this place. May I help you? Yes, Mr. Strauss. I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. Very good, very good. You are customers? In a way. Your firm manufactures a bust of Napoleon by the French sculptor Divine. Yeah? To purchase one, that is why you're here. Let me show you. No, not customers, but we are interested in the busts that Mr. Hudson of Kennington Road received. And my records are in here. Will you come? Hundreds of that bust. That Napoleon, that Frenchman. Hundreds were made, very popular. Here we are. Hudson, 3 busts he bought, part of a set of 6. And, You were going to say? To say that the others went to Harding Brothers of Kensington about 14 months ago. Why would anyone attempt to destroy these particular busts? How would I know? For 6 shillings we sold them. The retailer would get 12. Is a manufacturing process? Interesting, but of no particular value. Was it a complicated process, the making of them? Simple. I explain. From 2 molds, we made each side of the face. Then the 2 profiles were joined together, which created the bust. In our workrooms, this was, in most cases, done by Italian artisans. When the bust was already made, it was put into the drying room and then stored. Italian artisans, you say? This photograph, look at it. Hark! That villain! That face! Oh, who could forget that face? He worked here 25 years. 25 years this firm is established, and only once do the police come here. And it is because of him. What happened? A year ago, this blackguard knifed another Italian on the street and ran in my place. The police were after him. In the showroom, they got him. He was Beppo. That was his name. Beppo. Beppo what? I don't know. He worked for you. Yeah, he was a very quiet working man. But look out when he started with the drinking. Then would come the fighting. On that face. What is a stronger word for ugly? That was Beppo. The argosy of Beppo. Tell us more. The man he knifed, he lived. Beppo got off with a year. He is now walking probably the streets, free as a bird, with a brain to match. The English courts are too easy. This Beppo, where is he now? His cousin works here. I will ask him. No, not a word to him. One more point, Mr. Strauss. In your ledger, I noticed the date of delivery to Morris Hudson was June 3rd of last year. You noticed correctly. What was the date when Beppo was arrested? It was in May. Late May. I remember. May 20th. It was my wife's birthday. May 20th. Thank you. It is my pleasure to serve you. You would like to look at something else? You've been most helpful. Watson, we go now to Harding Brothers. The ones who sold the bust to Mr. Harker. And then back to Baker Street to compare notes with Lestrade. What can Harding Brothers do for you? Please make yourself comfortable. I'll have tea brought in directly. You said your name is... Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock? Interesting name. You don't hear that too often. Have you ever heard it? No. No offence. Now, you wanted... My friend Dr. Watson and I are seeking information. I see. Oh, yes, indeed. What sort of information would that be? Concerning the bust of Napoleon you sold to Mr. Horace Harker some time back. Mr. Horace Harker? The journalist? I don't read him. But there are those who do. No reflection on him, or on those who read him. That bust. It was one of 3 we had, and he insisted on having it. I must have it, he said. He was insistent. Exactly so. And the other 2 busts? Well, of course, they went to... where are those records? Here we are. This looks like what you need. June 10th, Joshua Brown of Labradon Wood, Chiswick. And the last one went to... But not until October. It went to Mr. Vincent Stanford of Lower Grove Road, Reading. You are very helpful, very thorough. Yes, I am. See this? Do you know the man in this photo? No, I can't say that I... Oh, isn't he ugly? No, I can't say that I've ever seen him. Don't you think he's ugly? To forget such a face would be difficult indeed. Oh, is he ugly? Oh, he's ugly. Yes, he's ugly. He also happens to be an Italian. Does this mean anything to you? We have several Italian artisans on our staff.
No ugly ones, though. At least not that ugly.
Would they have access to that sales book?
Most likely. We're not very cautious about our sales book. There's no reason to lock it up. It's in use all the time, don't you see?
You've been most cooperative.
Yes, I have. Any time the Harding brothers can assist you, just call on us.
Which brother are you?
The other one. Edwin isn't here just now.
I see. Thank you again.
Well, Lestrade, you arrived before we did.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson.
Good. I see that Mrs. Hudson has made tea.
Sit down, Lestrade. There's some currant buns on the sideboard.
We left you 5.
Oh, never do forget anything, eh?
What of our prisoner?
We've put a proper name and history to our Italian friend. Name's Beppo. He was a sculptor for Gelder and Company. Got himself into all sorts of scrapes, fighting and drinking. Did some time in the lockup at Wormwood Scrubs. Got out a few months ago.
Go on.
Trouble is, we still don't know why he was vandalizing those statues of Napoleon.
This will be the missing piece of our puzzle, Lestrade. Get the door, Watson. Mr. Holmes, I am Vincent Sandford. I've brought the bust. I see you have. Set it down over there. This is Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard, and my friend, Dr. Watson. Gentlemen, Mr. Sandford. How do you do? I've brought the bust as you asked. But you think my offer of £10 to be too generous? In all candour, yes. This is the final bust of Napoleon Bonaparte, copied from the French sculptor Divine. I have my £10, Mr. Sandford, and here it is. And you have the bust. And the transaction has been successfully completed. I am now in possession of all rights, and I am in possession of the easiest £10 I ever got. My thanks to you, sir.
You paid £10 for that piece of plaster?
An expensive souvenir?
I think not. Watson, hand me my hammer.
Holmes, you're not going to do what I am now sure you're going to do.
Observe. And from the fragments of Napoleon, I give you the Black Pearl of the Bourget.
The Black Pearl? Why, we've been on the lookout for that for over a year.
For 15 months, actually. Ever since it was stolen from the Prince of Colonna. The main suspect was the Italian maid of the princess. She had a brother in London, if I recall correctly. And there seemed to be no connection. But indeed, there was. I expect you'll find that the man murdered outside Horace Harker's door...
You mean it was Pietro?
The maid's brother, undoubtedly. Beppo's confederate. The pearl disappeared 2 days before Beppo was arrested for his crime of violence at Gelder and Company. If you recall, he was being chased by the police.
And he ran into the factory.
Saw the 6 busts, still moist, and drying in the storeroom. And he pressed the pearl into one of them.
But how?
How Beppo got the pearl from Pietro is immaterial.
So while Beppo was in prison, the pearl was in one of the plasters of Napoleon.
Of course. And when he was released, he traced them to the retailers and then the owners.
Precisely.
But Pietro's murder...
Perhaps Beppo thought he was after the pearl. He killed Pietro to stop him.
How do you know Beppo didn't find the pearl in Harker's bust?
I didn't. But the odds were 2 to 1 against. It was worth staking out Laborum Villa last night.
When Beppo showed up.
It confirmed my theory.
When you didn't find the pearl there...
I knew it had to be in Mr. Sandford's possession. He was not aware of it, naturally.
I've seen you handle a great many cases, Mr. Holmes, but I can't remember a more workmanlike job than this. We're not jealous of you at Scotland Yard. We're proud of you and our association. Every man jack of us. Yes, from ranking inspector to the youngest constable. We'd all be honored to shake you by the hand.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, my friend. If the water's to go to boil, we might have our tea now.
And those delicious currant buns.
Oh, very good, Lestrade. Currant buns indeed.
Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Six Napoleons on the Joe Bev Show. Tune in for more Sherlock Holmes next time. go to Amazon.com and search for Joe Bev.